I'm Cassie Box and I'm working for UK City Radio, and this is Charlie Barker, the gorgeous Charlie Barker. Pleased to meet you.
You too.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Just come off stage. I'm a bit.
Are you buzzing?
Yes, like you said beforehand. You know, get people when they come off stage and they're all buzzing. And yeah, that adrenaline's kicked in now. I was really knackered before, but now I'm like hyped.
Well, it's so crazy because I know that you were on, and I know your music, and I was asleep in my tent, and I heard you, and I woke up. I can't believe I did this. I went, "That's Charlie Barker." No, it can't be. She's not until 3 in stage 2. And I woke up, and my friends were like, "Oh, you missed Charlie Barker last night," and I'm like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Yes, you did." I was like, "Oh, how rude."
Oh,
I was very upset, but I need
You've got to get your
sleep.
sleep. You've got to get your sleep. It's essential.
Oh, I was exhausted. Yeah, I was very cold, and I was all on my own as well.
Oh.
I know, how rude. Okay, I'm from Sheffield.
Yes, Sheffield. Sheffield is a place where it's at. It's great, and I love Sheffield. I was born there, grew up there, and there's some great music happening in Sheffield at the minute. And there's everyone always looks at all the big artists and everything that come from Sheffield, like Joe Cocker, Paul, the Human League, everything like that. There's so much from independent artists and so many music nights going on in Sheffield at the minute. It's a really great place to go. It's just, I love
Fantastic. I haven't been there yet, but I do intend to. Do you support Sheffield United then?
I could not care less about football, I have to say.
I'm more of an ice hockey fan, but that's cool.
Ice hockey's alright. The Steelers do ice hockey for Sheffield.
They do.
So.
They're quite a good team.
Yes.
I support Peterborough Phantoms, and they're not half bad. Group band, yeah. Team actually. Okay. My question is: you played the cello in the orchestra when you were 15.
Yes.
Is that when you fell in love with music?
No, I always loved music from being a little girl.
Yeah.
And I started playing instruments at about 7, and I saw somebody playing a cello in my school assembly, and I thought, wow, this is an amazing instrument. I want to learn to play that. But I'd always listened to music from being very young, like my mum and dad's record collection. My mum used to listen to the Monkees, and I used to love the Monkees, and I thought the Monkees were ace. And from my dad's side, it was things like Dire Straits and the Stranglers. And I'm a big fan of the Stranglers and always have been.
You were here last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Were they really?
Or the first year, yeah, I think so.
Oh, I would love to go see them sometime because you know I love them. So it's a bit of a varied and diverse kind of place where I come from, where music's concerned. But I heard an awful lot of it when I was young, and that's really what kind of got me interested. And then I started to kind of want to do classical music with my cello. And in the same year, I picked up the guitar as well, because I wanted to do something where I could sing. And I'd always been into singing. When I was little, my granddad was musical, and you know he used to play keyboards, he used to play drums. Basically, he could get a tune out of anything, and we always used to sing songs, and it was just great.
Had a jamming session.
Yeah, a jamming session with my granddad, and
sounds good.
Yeah, it was really good, and that's kind of where it all came from. And I wanted to sing, so I picked up the guitar. And when I was about 10, I did my first public performance at a school talent contest. Everyone else was Spice Girls, but I went up and sang a Jane Wiedlin song, Jane Wiedlin of the Go-Go's, because I thought she was great. And yeah, that's kind of how it all started, really.
Well, that leads me to my next question, because I want you to tell me the story of sleeping at the station. There's actually a story about your granddad behind that.
That's Poppy's. Poppy's is the story of my granddad. That one. Sleeping at the station was just an observation. One of my friends went out, and she was like kind of travelling all over the place, and you know she loves doing that. And I always worry about her, and she always says, you know, oh, I just couldn't find anywhere to stay that night, so I just slept at the train station. I went,
we've all been there.
Oh, you could get murdered or something. So I always worry. I was really worried, and so I kind of thought, well, walking through train stations, you see lots of people sleeping at train stations and airports and things. You think, well, some of them, yeah, they're probably just waiting for their train, but others, you know, I'm sure that's not everyone's kind of story. There are people that are going to be there for different reasons. And this was just a kind of exploration of a story and a potential kind of outcome. Sleeping at the station, that's where that story came from. But Poppies, which is on the album, was written for my granddad. And I really admire my granddad. You know, he was a fantastic, fascinating man. very clever. He was a soldier in World War II.
I remember reading that.
Yeah, and he went out to Africa, and he went to Germany and Austria and everywhere. He went everywhere. You know, you name it, my granddad went there. And
Amsterdam.
I know, I don't think he went to Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, there's one place.
But you never know, he might have done. He might have done, I don't know. but yeah,
You didn't know.
he went all over the place, and I thought I want to write a song for my granddad, because I really admired him and the men of his generation. That, you know, what they did, it's so hard to kind of comprehend today. From you know, I couldn't imagine having to go out and deal with the things that he dealt with, and so many of the men of his generation. And he always used to go out selling poppies for the British Legion when I was younger, and I used to go along and join him. I used to stand on the street corner at Chapel Walk in Sheffield and sell poppies with my granddad, and I got to meet lots of veterans, and it was a bit of a novelty because there weren't any little girls that went out and sold poppies with the granddad. They were all war veterans.
All impersonating the Spice Girls.
Yeah, you never know.
Spice Girls, I'm not sure.
It's like that, and it was one of those things. That was my granddad's song, and I miss my granddad a lot. But you know, that's how I like to remember him. That song.
Cool. What's the best audience you've ever performed to, do you think? Who's been your craziest, most fantastic audience?
Audiences, they vary all over the place, it has to be said. I can't say there's ever been one that's kind of stood out as being like a kind of, I don't know, the craziest audience. We've had some crazy audiences. We had one, it was a riotous audience, and they were all very merry and drunk, and it was, fights started and all sorts. We had audiences like that, but the majority of the time, you know, it's all alright, and we have, you know, a good gig. Everyone has a bad gig, you know. All the big stars, they just don't talk about the bad gigs.
Yeah, I've had some really big famous bands say to me, yeah, we've had some bad times.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting.